I feel it's still too early for Vinny to move to Saudi at this point, especially now that he's trying to win the Ballon d'Or. But you never know the power of money. Watching this video, what do you think Don Carlo needs to do? What is going to be more effective for Real Madrid going into this season, considering the fact that Mbappe and Vinicius Junior, two solid players, play from the same side in the team. With this. Transit TV back again. Finally, Mbappe dons the famous Real Madrid Los Blancos white jersey in a competitive game for Real Madrid after his multi-million dollar, pound, euro, whatever you want to call it, move to Real Madrid. He finally steps out in the famous white jersey for Real Madrid, and that he did, scoring a goal for Real Madrid, helping them to yet again win another trophy for the famous side. It was a very interesting game, very, very interesting one indeed. This marks official beginning of the European season for this season, 2024-2025 season. And Real Madrid beat Atalanta 2-0. A team that surprisingly won the Europa UEFA trophy last season. Of course, traditionally every season to start the year, the winners of the Europa Cup and Champions League play in the UEFA Super Cup. That happened today, and the Real Madrid ran away as winners again on this one, 2-0 to Real Madrid. It was a very interesting game in a way, because of course you would have bet anything that Real Madrid was going to win this one, but if you watched how the first half panned out, you'll be intrigued, and probably it looked like we are heading for a surprise again involving Atalanta in Europe. Last season they surprisingly went to England and now letted Liverpool home and away and moved on to win the Leverkusen team that had an unbeaten domestically in Germany in the finals 3-0. Heino Lukman had a very special night on that night, if you remember. And today he wasn't bad at all as well. But Real Madrid was too strong for them to handle in this one. So we'll look at the game in a few talking points on this one. And obviously, this is what we do in Transit TV. We'll always help you with the third eye, because sometimes as fans, especially Real Madrid fans and Atalanta fans out there, you might be watching the game with emotion. But in Transit TV, I always try to bring the technical perspective to some of these games to help us understand how the game panned out in a different manner. Yes, like I said earlier, the game was interesting. You would have thought that Real Madrid was going to run away with this one. They did eventually, but it wasn't very easy for them to do that. First 5 minutes of the game, they piled pressure upon pressure on Atalanta, whose defense, with the leadership of Hien, stood firm. And after the first 5-7 minutes, they started to gather confidence and went toe-to-toe with Real Madrid all through the first half. And I don't think there was any shot on target. They had chances, but the only shot on target came on the 46th minute, and it went in favor of Atalanta, though they didn't manage to convert it. And from then, the game looked different. Let's talk about the first half of that game. I thought Real Madrid was a little bit, I don't want to say, in a haste. There was anxiety in that team. In a team where you have Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Junior, Kylian Mbappe, Valverde, and Rodrigo. These are all attack-minded players. And, sometimes when you have as a middle of team players like this, there is always pressure on who is going to perform each other, who's going to get the goals. So I think that played a little bit of role in the way Madrid approached that game in first half. You could see that all these players, in their own way, we are trying to maybe a little bit too much to make a mark in the game, which for me, I saw an imbalance in the way Real Madrid was set up. Their midfield was not balanced at all. And I'm going to give kudos to Jude Bellingham. I interestingly watched him. I thought, because he was withdrawn to the midfield, was the third man in the midfield, playing for the left side of the midfield for Real Madrid, because, of course, Mbappe started from the middle, Vinicius Junior from the left side, and Rodrigo on the right side. So, which meant that Jude Bellingham was going to play from the midfield. And I thought, he was going to be... And he still made a lot of his traditional later into the box. And he performed really very well. And for me, Jude Bellingham was not the match for me in this game for Real Madrid. He kept the team ticking in the absence of huge names like Modric and Kroos, who has retired and left Real Madrid. So that midfield was always going to be a problem for Real Madrid because it's a new setup, new combination. Because last season you either had Toni Kroos there or Modric, or even both of them playing with one of the young players. But in this time around, Madrid has to find a way to play differently, and meaning that Tchouaméni was the anchor or the pivot in that midfield. So it was a little bit of imbalance. Madrid was in a haste to execute their plans, and that went on and on all through the first half. You cannot lose Modric. They didn't lose Modric. Didn't start the game. Without him and Kroos in that midfield, it was always going to be a struggle. But Valverde again was in the midfield as well. But he's more of attacking. He works hard, but most of the time he goes forward. So it was a little bit of chaos in the attacking rhythm for Real Madrid. They managed to see them off in the first half. It ended 0-0. And of course, Don Carlo, him, he's always going to come around and do his thing. Kudos to the Atalanta coach, Gasperini. Set up his team very well. His team worked hard. He always knows that's going to work hard against in games like this. You could see there was discipline. They had the game plan on how to approach the game, which worked for them for 46, for almost 60 minutes. And before Real Madrid. So second half, I was intrigued to see how Madrid was going to approach the game. And Don Carlo did his thing. What stood out for me was the temperament that Madrid came to the second half with. You could see they were a little bit more relaxed. They're a little bit more structured. People played more in their positions, opened up the game, and it became a little bit difficult for Atalanta to cope because all of a sudden there was no much physical combat. There was no much, chaos and battles around the pitch. Meant that players were isolated and left to defend one-on-one. And this opened up the game. And Madrid started finding the spaces and gaps between the defenders for Atalanta. And that's how the game opened up. Of course, Vinicius Junior, you're not going to have him one-on-one against any defender in the world. He cherishes those kind of moments. Jude Bellingham started having space to spin and turn as he would love to. And the game opened up for Real Madrid. And at this point, Atalanta is struggling. You can't have players like Kolasinac one-on-one with attacking players with so much quality. People like Mbappe, people like Jude Bellingham, Rodrigo, and Vinicius Junior defending for you. So he opened up for Real Madrid and decided to, apply pressure and stamp their authority in the game. And like Manoto said, Real Madrid, they always have a way to find goals when they need them. And once Manoto said that, the next minute, Madrid scored. And again, there's so much talk out there about who's going to win the Ballon d'Or this season. And Vinicius Junior is really making a very big case for himself. It was his artistry and the technical ability to meander defenses and open up spaces for teammates that created the first goal for Real Madrid. Now, if you want to call this a final, this is the 11th final he's been involved in for Real Madrid, scoring 7 and creating 7 goals as well in those finals. So, yeah, Vinicius Junior is really pushing and making case for himself. And Bellingham is not backing down. Like I said earlier on, for me, Jude Bellingham was the man of the match for this game. He worked hard, worked selflessly for the team, opened up. Of course, he got assist for the second goal for Mbappe, and that was not just all he did this in this game. He did a lot for Real Madrid, both in creating chances, running late into the half, working hard, defending when he needed to do so, and he was just all over the place. The same way we saw him last season for Real Madrid. He continued from where he stopped, and I think he's become a mainstay for Real Madrid, for Don Carlo in this team. Yeah, so that's how he panned out. And from then, of course, Atalanta struggled. There was no way back for them. Then Mbappe, another talking point. Yes, he got his goal. First game, official game for Real Madrid, he scores. You can't argue with that. You can't say anything. But if you really want to look at his game very well, I think he struggled. Though you can excuse that because he didn't really have a preseason. These kind of movements, high profile. I'm sure behind the scenes, getting involved with all kinds of endorsements, filming and stuff like that. He didn't. I think this is the only game that has played for Real Madrid in this preseason. So you could see that one, there was no that cohesion between him and his teammates, and secondly, his physical fitness was always going to be in doubt, and he didn't finish this game. I was even surprised to see him start. I'm sure the reason why he started this game was because of the high profile of this. You can't sign this kind of player and not start him in a big game like this. So he had to start, and of course was subbed out because obviously he is not 100% to play 90 minutes in this game. And Mbappe for me wasn't 100%. Another interesting talking point on this one is how Don Carlo is going to set this team up, because it looks like you have a few players that play in the same position, and you need to have all of them on the pitch at the same time. So it means a few of them are going to play out of position, or Don Carlo are going to find a way. Like last season, Jude Bellingham is not a striker, but he most of the time played as a false nine for Real Madrid, and for the most part in the season, he worked out. He scored, I think he got about 17 goals. I don't know how many goals he did. 19 goals for him at the last season. He was very that scored 17 goals. So he can count on him to do that. So this season, Mbappe, I know him dominantly. He likes to play from the left side of the attack, which is where Vinicius Junior plays from. Vinicius Junior every now and then can get into the middle, but that's not his strong position. So it's going to be interesting to see how Don Carlo is going to handle this one between Rodrigo, Vinicius Junior and Mbappe. Mbappe has not been at his best anytime he plays from the center, from the middle, in any team, both French national team and PSG. So it's intriguing to find out what Don Carlo is going to do this season with these two players. Rodrigo looks like he's secured his position on the right side. Sometimes he uses the there. Jude Bellingham, because of the versatility and his work rate, can always slot into the midfield and get himself positioned between Mbappe and Vinicius Junior. So we're going to see how Don Carlo is going to use both of them. Though these players, they have the quality to, switch positions as the games unfold. But you can excuse Madrid. A lot of their players came back late for preseason this summer because, of course, they were involved in the Euros and the Copa America all the way to the final. So they didn't really have their preseason. But from what I saw today, Real Madrid really have some work to do, because you're not going to set up like this against the big teams. Like I said, in the first side, there was chaos and there was imbalance in that team, especially in the midfield. I know Kamavinga is injured. He didn't play today. Having him and Tchouaméni in that midfield would have probably brought some steam into the midfield. But if you do that, then you're going to lose Valverde, which for me is a very hard worker and helps Madrid also in transition. So it's going to be interesting to see. If you're a Madrid fan out there, this is a good problem that Don Carlo has with the team. What do you think? What do you think is the best way? Who do you think starts for Real Madrid? If you have Kamavinga back into the team, what do you think Don Carlo should do? And up front, you have Mbappe, you have Rodrigo, you have Vinicius Junior. How do you play them? I believe that Vinicius Junior is better off on the left side, same as Mbappe. Do you think some games, either of them, let me not even say that, should be dropped, or who do you think would do better in the middle for the team? And do you think it's going to work? So that's what I want to know from you out there, Real Madrid fans or anybody out there, watching this video. What do you think Don Carlo needs to do? What is going to be more effective for Real Madrid going into this season, considering the fact that Mbappe and Vinicius Junior, two solid players, play from the same side in the team. With this see Vinicius Junior, yesterday the news surfaced that the Saudis are beckoning, making a bid of 385 million pounds, offer to him in a year, meaning he'll be making, I've forgotten the figure now, in a week. Very momentous offer for him. The Madrid has said it's not for sale, but these Saudis, when they come, this is what made us see Cinema at the peak of his powers, leave Barcelona and went to PSG, and the rest is history, for now. So I don't know what we're going to make out of that. I feel it's still too early for Vinny to move to Saudi at this point, especially now that he's trying to win the Ballon d'Or. But you never know, the power of money, what these Saudis are doing in Europe is becoming interesting. And it's not going to be just about Vinny. Real Madrid, there's a kind of money that Real Madrid will offer that they will make to Real Madrid, and they will let him go. Because for me, anything from 500 million pounds as a sign-on fee to get Vinny, I think Madrid should consider it. And these guys are going to go all the way to 1 billion. So it's an interesting one, and we're going to keep an eye on this one to see how it goes. Let me know as well what you think. Is there any offer that the Saudis can make Real Madrid that will make them bend on this one and allow Vinny go? And if you're in their shoes, if you are an advisor, agent, brother, or family to Vinny, he's going to make £1 billion in 3 years if he accepts that offer. What do you think you would do, or you advise him to do? Let me know in the comment section as well as you watch this one. Yeah, that's how it went. Like I said, for me, man of the match in this one was Jude Bellingham. He, for me, outperformed everybody except him and the defender for Atalanta. Of course, they're losing the game, and you're going to give man of the match. So I will give my man of the match to Jude Bellingham. Let me know what you think. Who is the man of the match in this one? Who was the man of this one? Do you give it to Mbappe for scoring his first goal, or do you agree with me that Jude Bellingham was the man of the match in this one? Yeah, that is it for now. This weekend, obviously, the season starts in all around Europe. The Premiership starts on Friday. Manchester United are home at Old Trafford against Fulham. Fulham, a team that have made some interesting signings this summer. Just popularly, of the most popular amongst them, of course, signing from Arsenal, ESR, Emil Smith-Rowe, who has bagged 2 goals already for them in their preseasons that he played within the last 1 week. So let's see what happened this weekend. Of course, Chelsea, high-profile game again. Chelsea, they have over 40 players in their squad. They're still trying to trim down that squad. Going to be playing their first game against Manchester City. Arsenal, of course, will be hosting Wolves in their first game. So it's a loaded weekend we are looking up to. Stick around in Transit TV. If you don't have time to watch any of those games, we'll be bringing you insights into this game as we're just done on this one. The panel will be back over the weekend to look at those games as they come and go. So let me know what your thoughts are on this one. If you agree with me in the positions I've taken, if not, what do you think and why have you taken those positions? And I will see you again over the weekend. Ciao.